What is up, guys? My name is Kaylee. I'm an INFJ 9 Wing 1, and today I'm here with another video. But first, I hope you will like and you'll subscribe and check out my description box below. I have my website linked in there, and you can go to my website to book coaching appointments that I'm available for now. Okay, so all the information that I'm going over in this video I found on this website about the different Enneagram types and manipulation. So I didn't come up with these on my own, but I do give a little bit of advice, and I do give a little bit of insight and a little bit of description on each one. So I hope that this is helpful to you. This was not intended to discourage anyone or for you to look at the people in your life differently or poorly. This is just kind of to give you some awareness, okay? And I know every person is different at different levels of health and different levels in life, different stages in life. Just because you are this type does not mean that you are this way, okay? Just because, you know, you're a 7, and I mentioned that 7s tend to manipulate people in a certain way, does not mean that you as a 7 are going to be manipulating everybody all the time and you're always doing this thing, or that when you're doing this kind of thing that you're trying to manipulate people, okay? So watch this with a little bit of an open mind, and just a way to kind of gauge yourself on, you know, your compulsion, and trying to figure out what you're doing, figure out your habits, your patterns, and maybe open your eyes a little bit to the people in your life. If you have people in your life that you have problems with, you know, watch through this video, call them up, text them, see them in person, and just talk to them about it, because I think a lot of us assume that the people in our life understand what they're doing to us when maybe they're not even aware of it themselves, okay? So make sure you're giving people a second chance, but also make sure you know where your line is. So if this, you know, doesn't apply to you because you've never ever manipulated a person in your life, ever in your life, then, you know, this video is not for you. It's for your friends, you know, it's the other people in your life. I understand you would never manipulate someone. You're good like that. But, you know, since brute force and sheer will are kind of frowned upon, manipulation really, I think, kind of is the next runner-up. So, yeah, manipulation it's not good, but there's worse. There is, you know. So if you don't like this video, or, you know, you've never had to manipulate someone in your life because they, you know, everybody responds to you positively and does everything that you ask the first time, then make sure you leave a hate comment below. That will probably help me understand a little bit. So please do that, and we'll get into the video. Type 1s, they manipulate by correcting others and trying to make other people share their same standards. So if you're type 1, this might look like you want something done a certain way. Your spouse wants something done a different way. And instead of it being, I want this, you want that, I'm gonna get what I want, it's gonna be more of a, why would you want that when what I want is right? Okay, I want this thing and it's the right thing. How could you want this thing that's not right? It's bad. How could you want this bad thing? And it can be as simple as, how do you know, sweep your floors? How do you mop your floors? Well, why would you do it? Why would you start in this room and not the other room? You're wrong for thinking that, okay? So ones, if you find yourself doing this kind of thing, you might not really see it as manipulation, but manipulation is just a form of control, all right? And you might not see that you're trying to manipulate people, because I don't think you really are trying. You're not mean-natured. I don't think any of us in this whole Enneagram, I don't think most of us are really trying to hurt the other person. We're not trying to be bad to them. We're not trying to be mean to them. You might even see it as being nice to them. Instead of forcing my will on you and telling you that what you want doesn't matter, I'm just trying to show you how what I want is better. So if you if you're a 1 and you notice that you're doing this, kind of correcting other people, showing them that what you think is right and what they think is wrong, I think ask yourself, have you ever met another 1? They strongly believe they are right, and you might disagree with some of their things that they think are right. Okay, so maybe try to see some people that you're similar to, maybe you share the same type with, and see there's things in your life that you do that I don't agree with, but they would die on that hill that they're right about that. Not every Enneagram Type 1 is going to have everything in their life perfect. You know, there's just certain aspects, their work or something. So ask yourself, what if I'm wrong? And you're a 1, try to lean on that 9 a little bit. Try to lean on the 7. You go to 7 in health. Try to think about how would they process this information, because a 9 and a 7 they're going to try to see it through a different light. They're going to see it through a little bit of a different perspective. So instead of saying someone else is wrong because they want to fold the towels a different way than you want to fold the towels, and they want to hang the laundry a different way than you want to hang the laundry, or they park in a different way than you park, I believe there are some things you will never find a right or wrong for. Okay? There is not a right way to park your car. There's many wrong ways to do it, but there's not a one right way. Okay? If it gets to where it's supposed to be, that's right. Ask yourself in situations when you feel that compulsion, when you feel that need to bring other people up to your standards, ask yourself, what if I'm wrong? What if I'm not right about that? Could that even be a possibility? Could it be possible? Okay, and ask, is this something where it is a right and is a wrong? Is this something that you can actually be right about? Because a lot of things are preference. Okay, so next is number 2, Enneagram Type 2, by finding out others' needs and desires and creating a dependency. This hurts, okay? So 2s, you are loving, you are kind, don't exploit other people because of it. All right? If you buddy up with somebody and you nuzzle your way into their life, do it because you want to. Don't go into it with expectations that now they have to do things for you necessarily. Don't expect that to be a situation where you're going to remove love from them if they don't comply to your wants and desires. Okay, I don't think 2s see it this way. And this isn't every 2, but in some situations where a 2 feels unloved, then because of that, they remove love. Okay, so they are used to always meeting this person's needs. They're used to always meeting needs for the people in their life, and when they are not getting a response that they like, instead of saying, hey, why didn't you do these things that I wanted you to? They just passive aggressively remove that service, okay? 2s are very soft people. They are lovable, they are kind, and they will most likely always be there for you, okay? Most 2s will be there for you to a fault. But if you are 2, try to notice yourself doing this in everyday life, or think about an instance where you may have done this before, okay? Where you are giving love and affection and praise to people in your life. You don't get the response that you like, so you remove it, kind of in hopes that they'll then give you the response that you're looking for, okay? 3s, they manipulate by charming others and adopting whatever image will work. So if you haven't experienced manipulation of a 3, you might not have noticed it, all right, you might not have noticed being manipulated by a 3, but you might have. And that's my point exactly for 3s. If you are a 3 and you notice yourself manipulating people, you know, this is the first assertive type we've talked about so far, you're gonna want to control your environment and your situation. And if you notice that you are putting on kind of a show or a facade sometimes in order to get what you want, that probably has worked for you. Okay, that's probably worked for you in the past. You know, adding a little extra to your resume and maybe not talking about your political views when somebody asks you. You kind of just brush it off, you know, not really being open and honest with people all the time and showing this more polished exterior has probably worked very well for you. The only thing is, at some point in your life, or even when you go to bed at night, you might actually wonder who you really are. You know, who is this person? Because you're someone with this group, you're someone with another group. You need to be able to stand your ground, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And I know that seems like a downgrade to quit using a tactic that may be working well for you, but it is working against you. Okay, another thing about that is, what makes you think that people are going to like the version you created better than who you actually are? Okay, so what makes you think that people are gonna like this thing that you presented them better than just who you naturally are? Because I think a lot of people see through a facade. You know, a lot more people can see through your front than you might realize. If people are seeing through that, people might feel as if you're being fake. You know, I don't think you're trying to be fake at all. I think it's you, just like everyone else on here, how to control your situation. This is kind of the natural path you're taking to control your situation. It's easier for you to change yourself in a situation, and it's easier for you to be someone that people want to be around and someone that people admire, and get things from people that way than it is to maybe say, you know what, I'm not as much of these things as maybe you thought I was, but I still would like X, Y, and Z. Okay, so the fear of being rejected or shot down, or like you're not going to be able to get ahead, is it's not, I think it should not be keeping you from actually being who you are. And so ask yourself, you know, why do I think that this version of myself is better than who I actually am? Because you've probably never given those people a chance to meet who you actually are. Okay, and ask, what if people can see through this a little bit easier than I thought they could? All right, 4s. They manipulate by being temperamental and making other people walk on eggshells. All right, this is hard to hear. I think this is difficult to hear. I think 4s get a lot of bad press, and I think most of the bad press is surrounding this, being temperamental. But don't get that confused for passionate or emotional. Okay, so you 4s, if there's been the tiniest chance that maybe you've manipulated someone in your life, this is probably the path that you've taken. And if that's the case, don't get confused you being passionate about something and you being emotional in a situation for you being temperamental, and using that as a tool to get what you want, okay? When you hear a child crying, it's easy for a parent to just say, oh my goodness, fine, give them the thing they wanted, give them the candy, but we're adults here. A kid isn't passionate about candy. They want it, and it's okay to want things. It's probably worked for you in the past to, I want them to stop doing these 5 things and they're not doing them, so I'm just going to make a big deal about it. Why do you always say that to me? How could you do that? Why would you, can you please stop trying to, these big emotional words of always, never, they kind of have the tendency to throw those words into sentences, and there can be tears, there can be yelling, there can be storming out of rooms, and this is a way to control other people. This form of manipulation is with the assumption that people care enough to not make you upset. Okay, no one's gonna step on your toes if every time somebody bumps into your toes, you lash out. All right, and I think it can be confusing sometimes for 4s to see this kind of manipulation, because it's can be under the guise of I'm being authentic to myself. And I'm not saying that you cry to get what you want. That's not what I'm saying, because I've seen many 4s deal with this in a different way. They just, no, it's fine. Cross their arms, it's fine. No, go ahead. And then you're like, for some reason, I feel like this might not be fine. So find out, try to dig a little bit deeper and see, what am I really doing? Am I portraying these emotions in order to invoke a response? Is this just so that I can control the situation? Okay, this is painful, this is hard, this is unhealthy behavior, and I don't think everyone is trapped in being unhealthy. So I'm not saying if you are this type, you are always doing this kind of stuff. No, that's not what I'm trying to say. All right. Now, 5s manipulate by staying preoccupied and by detaching emotionally from others. And I think I have a perfect phrase for this. Whoever cares the least controls the relationship. Okay, think about it a little bit. If I say, we're not leaving the house until you make the bed, then, my husband says, I'm not making the bed, I don't care about it. Then I'm the one who cares about the bed being made, he doesn't. But we both have car keys, he can just leave. Because I can say, no, I'm not going anywhere until you make the bed. And he goes, I don't care if the bed's made, I don't care if you stay. You know what, I'm leaving. That's never happened before, but that kind of thing, you can see how that plays out. Whoever cares the least is in the most control. All right. So 5s, staying preoccupied and detaching emotionally, trying not to process, the feelings that you're having about, whether it's feeling stuck, whether it's being upset, whether it's feeling, left out, not included, and like your voice isn't being heard in your group and they don't even care what you have to say. You might have those kinds of feelings, and instead of saying, hey, why aren't you listening to what I have to say? I want to go to this restaurant, you want to go to that restaurant, why don't you take into consideration what I care about? They will become distracted and detach emotionally. Okay, so if you are doing that, that isn't solving your problem. Okay, if you were involved in the conversation, move to that 8, that healthy side of 8, and stand your ground. Okay, if you show up to the conversation and you say, hey, listen, I want to go here, you want to go there. Let's figure out where we're going to go. Okay? That's different than just, walking away. Just, I'm going to go to my room. That's different. Okay? So showing up and having a difficult discussion where you might be criticized. Okay, you might be criticized, but at least you voiced your opinion. Okay? All right, type 6s. How do 6s manipulate? They complain and test other people's commitment to them. All right, 6s. If you are aware of the Enneagram and you're aware of your place on it, you are the loyal skeptic. Skeptic is in the name. Some people are very loyal, okay? Always testing other people's commitments. I think this can look similar to the 4. Pushing on other people, applying pressure to other people and seeing if they'll break. Okay, applying pressure to a relationship and seeing if it breaks. Why do you need to do that? You might be able to solve this with a few conversations. I don't know if you will be able to solve the internal noise with a few conversations, but applying pressure to a relationship to see if you can trust it and to see if you can get what you need out of it to a certain extent. Pressure does break relationships and pressure does break people, okay? So if you have a really strong relationship, it might take a very long time for it to break, but applying enough pressure for long enough, and inevitably everything will break. I'm sure you know people who don't even speak to their moms, okay? So pushing other people's boundaries and pushing on other people is not a healthy way to control your situation. All right, and complaining, okay? So with complaining, listen to Tony Robbins, a 3, tell you about how you can go, get, and do. All right, you can do it, you can get it, you can be it, that's you. Complaining isn't really a part of any step, okay? It's not in there. Complaining isn't what's gonna get you to where you wanna be. A road trip isn't fun when you have people sitting up front complaining the whole time about they want to go to the bathroom and they want to stop at a rest stop and get dinner and they want to, it's not fun when we can't enjoy it. It's not fun when we can't enjoy it. Oh my goodness. It's not fun when everyone is at the mercy of listening to you complain about things that just aren't going to change because you're not going to change them. Take the power into your own hands and change the things you're complaining about. Okay, you're a compliant type. You're kind of maybe looking for the people that in your life that you love and that love you to maybe do something about the things that you're complaining to them about, okay? Do those things yourself, all right? Do some of those things on your own. 7s. Now, 7s manipulate by distracting others and by insisting that others meet their demands. Okay, 7s, you bring joy. But when you're not bringing joy and you're miserable, you take joy out of the room with you. You suck joy out. If you are a 7 and you've ever been miserable before, I'm sure it looks something like that. If you've ever been manipulated by a 7, then you probably understand kind of what I'm talking about. I want to stay home and the 7 wants to go to Disney World. Well, I want to stay home while they want to go to Disney World. You're not going to hear the end of it. Even if you're like a sack of potatoes that the 7 is carrying around on their back, you're providing recreational companionship. And that's a big thing for 7s. They love their recreational companionship. So 7s, think about it. If someone says no, trust their no. okay? If someone says, no thank you, believe that their no thank you is real. I think 7s get confused and think, well, everyone wants to do blah, blah, blah. Everyone wants ... And so then you kind of assume that when someone says no, they don't want this thing that falls into your agenda. They don't want to do this thing. You go, well, they just haven't thought about it quite yet. Let me explain it to them. Or, they just didn't realize all the benefits. I'm going to drag them along with me, and then they'll see, and then they'll be thankful. Okay, see, it's great. So I think 7s, you are probably very unaware that you do this, but you're still doing it, okay? So be aware that when someone says no or no thank you, after you've asked them, 3, 4, 5 times, that's a good sign, that's a good indicator that it's a no-go, all right? However hard that is for you to hear. 8s, how do 8s manipulate? This one is one of the least manipulative, really, okay? By dominating others and demanding others do as they say. Okay, we're going back to that sheer will and brash harshness. There you go. Okay, 8s. I'm gonna give you a similar message as I gave the 7. When someone says no, respect their no. Okay, when someone else has an opinion, even if you think it's stupid, even if you think it's the dumbest thing that's ever been said by any human on the whole entire freaking earth, even when you have those thoughts and feelings, just think. Maybe quit by your head. Okay, you're a doing type. Doing, thinking, feeling. You are going to do. You're naturally going to want to jump in and start doing. You're going to start stirring the pot a little bit. Okay? Take a second and pause and think about it. All right? How do you like it when someone else dominates you or tries to dominate you and tries to force their will on your life? Okay? For some reason, I have a feeling it's not dandy. I have a feeling you don't just relish in it, okay? So if you know that one of the worst things in the world is to be controlled by another person, why would you inflict that on someone else? I love my 8s, okay? You are strong, stronger than I think you even realize. You want to be the good guy, and in order to be the good guy, you might have to pause and listen to the world around you a little bit, okay? Take into consideration what the people you love and care about have to say, all right? Or even just the people you work with, all right? If you want to be able to work with them, they're gonna have to be able to work with you. And forcing your will on other people is not how you're going to make friends. Like every other person, 8s like to have friends. 8s want to be liked. 8s want to be loved. Okay? You don't want to be pushed away by the world. But when you make other people feel stupid, and when you make other people feel worthless and dumb because they have a different opinion than you, they are going to push you away. 8s are rejection types. And so you are going into situations thinking that you're already going to be rejected. And when you go into a situation thinking, I'm going to be rejected, I'll reject them first, that protects your heart from when somebody says something hurtful, But when you make the first jab every time, or when you're making the first jab, what can you expect people to do except for pull back and push you away? And that's not what you want, okay? Especially you social 8s, you have a lot better understanding of how this dynamic works. Social 8s, you kind of might feel like you can't really be yourself with other people and be liked. But that's not the case, one of the biggest things is stop forcing other people to do what you want by insisting they have to. Okay, ones are also in the anger group, and they are, my way or the highway. You're kind of my way, that's it, my way, or I'm on the highway. So 8s, keep in mind you may be coming off differently than intended, and you don't like to be controlled. Pause when you're about to make a suggestion, even, because I think you might think you're making a suggestion, but your suggestion sounds like, hey, we're going to the store right now and you're going with us, right? That's how your suggestion is actually coming out of your mouth. When a different way to phrase it would just be, hey, I would like to go to the store. I'd love for you to come with me. Do you want to come with me? It takes a little bit of time just to think about what you are going to say and how you're going to come across, and what's the difference between offering and managing, okay? 9s. Well, 9s, they could never manipulate anyone. Okay, so 9s, how do you manipulate? 9s manipulate by checking out of life, okay? By checking out and by passive aggressively resisting others. How is this helping you? Okay, it's pushing the problem to the future. Instead of looking someone in the eye and saying, nope, that doesn't sound good to me, I'm not doing that. Instead of doing that, it's, I'm not gonna think about it, not gonna do it, and just avoid. Kind of like the 5, avoid, avoid, avoid. And when you do that, the problem still exists, okay? That work that you were asked to do, that you had the option, do it or don't do it, but they would get mad if you said no. They were kind of just telling you to do it, but you weren't really sure. That still exists. It's just bumped later down the line, okay? So think about, would this be easier if I just dealt with it and got it over with? Or is it easier for it to be running in the back of my mind? Because you're also a doing type, all right? 9s are doing types. They're going to be stuck in a little bit of doing or a little bit of thinking and feeling. They're going to be separated from the doing and thinking and feeling, and they're going to be stuck in one. Try to jump between both of them. Go to your thinking and your feeling and say, what do I really want to do in this situation? Figure out what you really want to do, and then what is more efficient, what is more effective, what would a 3 say about this, what would an 8 say about this, what would be the best way to take care of this situation, and then do it. Instead of going on Novocaine and being done with your problem, take care of your problem, that way it can actually be taken care of. Otherwise, it's just floating around in your future. You don't want that. As always, thank you guys for coming back to another video, and I will have some more videos up soon. I'm starting a new series, and I think that you guys are really going to enjoy it. If you're interested in any coaching appointments, check out my website in the description box below, and I will see you guys soon.